Hello YouTube. There are two people in the history of our civilization that fascinate me. One of them is Ivan Yefremov. I have been speaking about him and continue my research of this person, his accomplishments, his ideas, whoever he might have been, a human or an extraterrestrial. The other person is the Italian genius who lived centuries ago. One of the greatest and most mysterious figures in the history of mankind is the unsurpassed genius of the Renaissance man Leonardo da Vinci. In his amazing biography, there are many still unsolved mysteries. The official biography of da Vinci says that he was born on April 15, 1452 in the town of Anciano near the city of Vinci, located near Florence. But in reality, the circumstances of da Vinci's birth are extremely confusing. Even it is still unknown who his mother was. According to some hypothesis, she was a simple peasant woman. According to another hypothesis, she was the owner of a tavern named Catarina. Well, there is a hypothesis that Leonardo da Vinci's mother was a Circassian slave Catarina. In 1452, Circassia or Cherkessia represented almost all of the current North Caucasian in the Caucasian Mountains, Azov, Black Sea, Caspian Intermountain area. It was the territory of the modern Krasnodar and Stavropol territories in Russia, the Republic of Adygea, Kabardino-Balkaria, Karachay-Cherkessia. I told my audience recently about the Cherkess people and the conquest, bloody conquest by the Russian Empire of their lands, and their fight against the invaders and their subsequent exile. There is a document which is located in the Leonardo Museum that says that the artist's mother, Caterina, is a slave. The hypothesis that Leonardo da Vinci's mother was a Circassian slave could be true. That hypothesis about her being a slave from the Middle East or Caucasus Mountains or North Africa is actively supported by the director of the Leonardo da Vinci Museum in his hometown, Alessandro Verzossi. The paternity of the future genius is attributed to a certain notary named Piero da Vinci. At least from the age 4.5, the boy was brought up in his house because the rich notary and landowner didn't have his own children. At the age of 15, Leonardo was apprenticed to the famous painter, sculptor, and jeweler Andrea del Verrocchio. The young man rubbed the master paints and brought brushes for him, but he himself at the same time showed remarkable abilities in drawing, and according to legends, painted the figure of the angel in Verrocchio's painting Baptism. Leonardo was reputed to be Verrocchio's favorite student, and even after he was admitted to the Guild of Painters in 1472, he continued to live in his teacher's house. But at the same time, da Vinci was already engaged in his own creativity, and already his first work showed that a brilliant artist was born. Leonardo continued to paint, and around 1467, he even opened his own workshop. During that period, he painted his canvases Madonna with a Flower and Adoration of the Magi. No one knows the details of da Vinci's life at that period of his life, because one of the mysteries of the genius is that among his numerous manuscripts, there is not a single record concerning his youth. The drawing of da Vinci's television, the drawing of da Vinci's airplane, they were incredible. He was an unsurpassed master of painting. He turned out to be a genius in all areas. The surrounding people around him, who were amazed by da Vinci's ability to instantly learn something new, this was well known. After hearing the lyre or harp playing, Leonardo immediately decided to learn to play music himself. Very quickly he became one of the best musicians, and then he created his own instrument, a lyre or a harp in the form of a horse's head, the music of which was simply divine. But he was a genius not only in painting and music. When Leonardo went to Milan in 1482 to the court of Lodovico Sforza, da Vinci introduced himself to the aristocrat as a military expert, inventor of weapons, military chariots and machines. Indeed, Leonardo da Vinci proved himself to be an outstanding engineer and inventor. But not only that, he was also a sculptor, mechanic, chemist, visionary, singer, swimmer, creator of classical instruments, writer, swordsman, architect, you name it. Or maybe we cannot name it, all of it. While living at the Sforza court, he invented various mechanisms and devices that were centuries ahead of their time. It was Da Vinci who invented a spacesuit, a submarine, a steamship, a helicopter, a glider, a parachute, a tank, a machine gun, toxic gases, a smoke screen for troops, a magnifying glass, textile machines, a loom, a powerful crane, and swamp drainage system, an arch bridge, and many other mechanisms that were not existing in the past or his time. Not all of them have been implemented, but the first drawings of all these mechanisms belong to Da Vinci. Some of these drawings have not yet been solved or understood, and only after some time, as science and technology develop and catch up, engineers guess about the purpose of certain mechanisms. So when televisions, computers, and digital cameras appeared, it turned out that the great Leonardo had already described them at one time. And probably Da Vinci's drawings contain secrets of inventions that have not yet been made. Leonardo da Vinci completely controlled his feelings, tried not to show emotions, kept a constant, even mood. Da Vinci diligently avoided quarrels and once responded to an insult only by writing in his diary, "A wise man should cultivate patience." Da Vinci was distinguished by handsomeness, strength, dexterity. He caught admiring glances, but he preferred solitude without having any serious friendships or love affairs. He wrote, "If you are alone, you belong completely to yourself. If there is at least one person next to you, then you belong to yourself only half or even less, in proportion to the thoughtlessness of his behavior. And if there is more than one person next to you, then you sink deeper and deeper into a deplorable state." Well, there were people around him, and I mentioned it in another video, and I'll talk about it later. Leonardo loved animals much more than people. Although he did not own any property and worked a little, he still kept servants as well as horses, to the horses he was always not indifferent. Wrote his contemporary, "Da Vinci considered animals to be the crown of nature, and from his love for them even became a vegetarian. Sometimes passing by bird markets, he bought birds and then released them." By the way, there are sketches of birds in flight in Da Vinci's notes. Similar images in the future were obtained only after watching time-lapse filming. The Da Vinci time machine alleged drawing is interesting that, again, many of his inventions are described in a very strange way. He wrote from right to left and in a mirror image. He did not publish the results of his scientific discoveries, limiting himself only to notes for himself. In general, Leonardo's personal characteristics and habits were quite unusual. He slept for 15 minutes every 4 hours, finding this type of rest the most effective and not taking much time from life. At the time it was perceived as a whim of genius, but now doctors say that this mode of the day gives you the opportunity to relax and always be at the peak of mental fitness. A lot of facts from Da Vinci's life are absolutely incredible. Again, discoveries ahead of time, knowledge of many things not available to science in the 15th century. For example, in one of his notes, he says that once the Sahara Desert was a blooming place and populated by people. But this discovery was made somewhat recently. All these amazing facts have allowed many researchers of the biography of the genius to put forward absolutely fantastic hypotheses about Da Vinci. One of the main ones is that Leonardo could travel in time or was a messenger from the future. From all this improbability, this hypothesis is not devoid of some plausibility. Who knows, maybe a time machine will be invented, and then a certain person of the future may well be in the past. As you know, Leonardo da Vinci mentioned various mechanisms and devices that were centuries ahead of their time. And probably Da Vinci's drawings contain secrets of inventions that, again, have not yet been made. Look, I have some requests. Please see my video about a secret ancient and still modern society, where Leonardo was an active member, most likely, and some of the interesting personalities that he was associated with in his youth. This information is basically from Ukrainian and Russian sources. It's not that they know something that is not known in the West, but sometimes information is available in certain circles and not others. That's all I can say. This is very interesting, and I did my research and I put it in the video. You'll see the links. Look, the other video is about another Italian genius who lived in the 20th century, and mostly in the Soviet Union, where he was a classified inventor. He invented such things as the invisible aircraft. He knew that time is not at all what we believe it to be, and much more. His first name was Robert, surname was Bartini, but even that is not completely certain. You will see why when you go through that video. Who was he? Who was Leonardo? Who was Ivan Yefremov, for sure? See, this is something we do not know. I am sure Bartini was a genius too. Maybe not definitely at the level of Leonardo da Vinci, but still a very mysterious person. And Yefremov, like I said, you know my research. You'll find the links to my videos in the description to this video. It's incredible, the contribution of such people to our history and science, and we may not know all of them as yet, because I am sure there are powers in this world that don't want you to know, not because of some evil design, but maybe we're not just ready to know, or they don't want general public to understand the powers of what has been invented or presented. So we'll keep looking for answers. If you like my research, please subscribe to my channel. Please tell others. If you can help my research in other ways, you'll find links in the description to this video. Thank you.